The average person spends about 25 years of their life asleep, and about 6 years of that is spent dreaming. But why do we sleep? And more importantly, why do we dream? Scientists haven't really got the foggiest idea. Get on it, you lazy scientists. Come on, how hard can it be? There are a lot of theories as to both why we need to sleep and why we need to dream, but sleep is so poorly understood that we really just don't know. So far, all our best research has been able to do is prove that our bodies need sleep in order to cure sleepiness. Bravo! Bravo, scientists, you did it. Get ready for the Nobel Prize. What's sleep for? Fixing tiredness? But there's no answer to why sleepiness needs to exist in the first place. So, well, we're back to square one, aren't we? Whether we understand it or not, our dreams are part of our everyday lives, even if we don't remember them. Unless you are woken up during a dream, very close to when you were dreaming, or you were lucid dreaming, it's unlikely that you'll remember what the dream was about, and the memory will quickly fade. Typically, our dreams are forgotten within 10 minutes of them ending. Perhaps it is this ephemeral nature of dreams that makes them so fascinating, or maybe it's just because many people believe that dreams are the window to the soul. Those people are idiots. It's like, I had a dream about construction last night. What does that say about my soul? So stupid. Some Nostradamus. Either way, dreams have long been a part of science fiction. Obviously, something like Inception or Dreamscape, where you enter another person's dream, is almost certainly impossible. We're sorry to disappoint you, but what about just recording a dream so you could watch it again when you were awake? You'll be forgiven for thinking that, like so many other things on this channel, we're going to tell you that this is utter nonsense and you are an idiot for even considering the possibility. But no, not today. What I will tell you though, is that your dreams are boring. They're so boring. Have you know when someone else describes their dreams to you and they're convinced that it's fascinating? Has anything anyone has ever told you actually been fascinating? And remember that. And then don't tell people your dreams because no one cares. Look, today we're going to tell you that recording your dreams is absolutely possible. And guess what? We're actually on our way to making it a reality. Wouldn't it be amazing to live in a world where you're able to have your dreams recorded and uploaded to YouTube for all of the world to see before you've even woken up? No? What about all the fucked up shit that you dream about? You're like, brain, why? Why, brain? Reconstructing vision. Dreams can include thoughts and emotions, but the experience is largely sensory. We see and hear things and may feel our bodies moving, though good luck trying to sprint or throw a punch with any meaningful force. Since dreams are largely sensory rather than being an introspective pondering of deep existential questions, that means we should be able to reconstruct someone else's dream if we could see exactly what their brain is doing while they dream. Though the research hasn't necessarily all been tied to dreams, research with this exact goal has been going on for decades. One of the earliest and coolest experiments was performed back in 1999 at the University of California, Berkeley. Instead of testing on humans, the experiment was performed on man's second best friend and self-proclaimed ruler of mankind, the house cat. Cats had computers hooked up to their brains with wires monitoring 177 individual brain cells in the region of the thalamus that received signals from the eyes. The electric signals received by these wires were then decoded into a video signal and displayed on a computer. Once the cat was hooked up to the apparatus, it was shown a video on a black and white TV. Researchers could then view the signal being decoded and see what the cat was seeing in real time. Despite the limitations of 1999 technology, the results were remarkable. The computer was able to reconstruct exactly what the cat was seeing, or at the very least, a shitty, low-resolution version of what the cat was seeing. Seeing side-by-side images of what the cat was watching and what was produced by the computer while reading the brain, it's very clear that the technology was working, it just needed a bit of improvement. Now, there are two key ways in which the video could have been improved. The first would be more wires in the cat's brain. The limited number of wires meant that not only were they not seeing the cat's full field of vision, but they weren't going to get high resolution either. The second possible improvement would be to read signals from a different part of the brain. The researchers were monitoring brain cells where they knew the video signal was sent from the cat's eyes, but those cells weren't the signal's last stop. Higher regions of the brain do significant processing on the signal received, so even had they been able to extract all of the data from the area they had wired, the video still would not have been as crisp as what the cat would ultimately perceive itself after the further video processing was done. The human brains are a bit more complex than our cat friends, so could this work on humans as well? And the answer to that is yes, and we could do it without needing to implant wires into our brains as well, which is honestly a bit of a relief. Subjects were placed in an MRI machine and were shown very simple images like a basic geometrical shape on a completely black background. The brains were monitored while being shown a number of test images, then they were shown new images, and reason, the computers decoded the readings of the MRI to approximate what the person was looking at. Just like with the cats, the results were easily recognizable as the correct image, but they were again staticky and low resolution. It was far from perfect, but it was still a step in the right direction. Then, in 2011, researchers decided they were going to take a step further. Instead of extremely simple stationary objects, they wanted to see if they could view full-color videos through the eyes of their test subjects. The subjects were again placed inside an MRI, and this time their brain activity was monitored while they were shown hours of videos on YouTube. The videos were all short, and there were a ton of them. They monitored which sections of the brain lit up for each video to build a database of that person's reactions. Recording every video and the corresponding brain activity allowed them to build a library of visual sensory data for each test subject. Then the subjects were shown new videos that they had not previously seen, and their brain activity was compared against the library that had been created. Based on that activity, a series of videos that most closely matched the current brain activity was overlaid on top of one another, and that was the final video. Since the reconstructed movies are a bunch of video clips stacked on top of one another, there is obviously not going to be terribly high resolution. However, it doesn't look like the jumbled mess that you might expect either. One of the videos that the subjects were shown was a video of Steve Martin dressed as a waiter. The computer-generated videos from 3 test subjects all made it clearly identifiable that there is a person standing and moving where Steve Martin was, and in a similarly structured location. You definitely wouldn't be able to guess who the actor was from the reconstructed videos, but you could still get a good sense of what the person was seeing. Further research has been done using similar experimentation methods, but implementing a type of neural network known as deep learning to analyze the results and produce a reconstructed image. The results are definitely something. We're not going to say they're better than the previous attempt, but they are definitely more frenetic and, honestly, kind of nightmare-inducing. Using deep learning will probably allow for faster improvements in this field of study, but for now, we'll just say that it is definitely a thing that actually exists, unlike tons of shit that we cover on this channel. Identifying dreams. The first successful attempts at identifying what someone was dreaming about came in 2013 from ATR computational neuroscience laboratories in Kyoto, Japan, thanks to the help of a few extremely willing participants. The test subjects, who we chose to believe were volunteers, were hooked up to an EEG and placed in an MRI so that both machines could record their brain activity simultaneously. They were told to go to sleep. After about 3 hours, once the scans indicated they had entered REM sleep and begun dreaming, the scientists would wake the subjects up quickly and ask them what they were dreaming about. The process was repeated on each subject roughly 200 times. I hope they were well paid. That sounds like a nightmare study. Once the first stage was complete, the subjects were then shown images from the internet that corresponded to the 20 most common categories of things that a person was dreaming about. Categories like buildings, women, and cars. Let me guess, the subjects were men. This was done to see both if their brains reacted in the same way to these categories of things while awake and asleep, and to provide more data that could be used to improve the algorithm. With all that data collected, all that was left to let the volunteers have a good night's sleep inside an MRI machine for 3 hours before they were abruptly woken up again. This sounds horrible. This time, their brain activity was analyzed and a prediction of what they were dreaming about was made by the computer before the subjects were woken up. It would flash a bunch of images related to whatever category the sleeping subject seemed to be thinking about at that moment, and words beneath the image would shrink or grow based on how confident the computer was that this was the subject of the person's dream. In one such instance, we can see images of writing in a variety of languages quickly flashing by as the word character beneath the images grows to dwarf all of the other words. There was also a picture of Cookie Monster thrown in there as well. When the subject was woken up and asked what they were dreaming about, they explained, "What I was just looking at was some kind of characters. There was something like a writing paper for composing an essay, and I was looking at the characters from the essay, or whatever it was." That all sounds confusing. Just remember, this was translated for Japanese and was spoken by a person who had just been rudely awoken for the 201st time in a row. The important thing was that the computer was right. It was only guessing a topic, but it still guessed the correct topic. After repeated tests, the method managed to correctly guess the topic of the dream about 60% of the time. Now you may be thinking, only 60%, that's barely better than a coin flip. This is clearly no more scientific than a lie detector machine. But you'd be wrong to think that. A lie detector is a simple yes or no answer, so it's 50-50 odds. A dream can be about literally anything, and the computer was able to correctly determine what it was about 60% of the time, which is incredible. Even if it was limited to only 20 categories, that's still only a 5% chance they would randomly guess correctly, making 60% accuracy, well, statistically significant, yeah? What the future holds. One by one, the pieces are coming together, and it's almost certainly only a matter of time before we can record a person's dreams in stunning 4K resolution. How much time will that be, you ask? Well, it's a lot harder to say. The technology has improved dramatically since 1999, but it hasn't improved so much that we can say we're only 5 or 10 years away. Many people mostly read it as a positive that we'll have this technology in 15 to 20 years. That seems a little bit optimistic, but it's not outrageously optimistic. The question comes down to just how badly people want this technology. If it's a cool thing that people think would be a cute novelty, it will likely take closer to 50 years than 15. Even then, there's a good chance the resolution on any images we'll be able to retrieve would be really low. It would be an improvement from a computer predicting which out of 20 broad categories you would be dreaming of, but it would still leave a lot to be desired. However, if this is seen as the next stage of human evolution and something that we should sink all of our resources into, which it absolutely won't be, then our Lord and Savior Elon Musk is here to make this dream a reality. Elon has predicted that in the future, people will be able to save memories and dreams using Neuralink so that they can replay them and watch them again. He also predicted that we'll be able to use it as a backup to restore lost memories or to implant them into a new body, possibly even a robot body. Please. Look, his claim is patently false, but the phrase "in the future" is doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. If people are willing to opt into brain surgery to have chips implanted in their skulls, it will absolutely speed up the timetable compared to relying on non-invasive methods of scanning brain activity. But is it really worth elective brain surgery just to remember your dreams? And if the answer to that question is anything but no, what's up with you? Each dream lasts an average of 5 to 45 minutes, most on the shorter end, and the majority of what you dream about is just nonsense. It may seem cool to you because you were the one experiencing it, and it would definitely be interesting to be able to watch some of the dreams that you had but couldn't remember, at least at first. But even if we can watch our own dreams in perfect detail, there's no guarantee any of them will be entertaining without the accompanying feeling and memories of having actually just experienced it. Just think about the last time one of your friends told you about their incredible dream. You just didn't care because it's boring. Thank you for watching.